Hello, everybody, and these are my monthly opinions on the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book for, I guess you could say, April of 2011. It would have been late March, early April, but it's just April now. um. Anyway, let's talk about the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book. You know, over the past few weeks, myself and a lot of other people have been talking about some of the things that will be occurring in the upcoming issues. You know, a lot of people have been voicing their opinion as to who they believe will be having their life hang in the balance in the next few months. A lot of people have been giving their opinion as to who could be dead or killed off in the next few months. But the question is, folks, who can it be? Who will it be? A lot of questions has been answered by a lot of fans. They feel and believe it's this character, it's that character. We won't know. But there's a lot of strong candidates, folks. But I truly believe it's going to be a certain character that's right now being the focal point of the current issues. So, we'll see what happens. It's like some people say, a cover doesn't tell the whole story. Anyway, recently, as I mentioned in my review, I got my issue 223 today in the mail. Not through subscription, that probably won't start until 224. But I got it in the mail through an online store called thingsfromanotherworld.com. So, anyway, I got the issue. And again, I thought it was pretty good. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. And to me, there's a lot of hints and clues being thrown out there. When you take a look at some of the words put in bolded out, if you will, that kind of stand out. There are words like rightful, want, and know that stand out because they're bolded out when it's spoke by Jeffrey, when you look through the issue. And then when he whispers to Sally, who said anything about Eliza's. You see, these are things that a writer is throwing hints at you. They want you to think, is he really talking about Naugus, or is he talking about somebody else? You see, we won't really know until the time is right. We won't really know. Now, the Genesis story arc has been one that people have been talking about for a while. Some are wondering if it's going to tie in some ways. Some people are wondering if it's a separate story arc or what's going on. Well, I think as we get closer and closer and closer, I think we kind of get the idea that it might be a bit tied in, but it may not be tied in. It may be its own separate arc. We don't know. You see, if it is tied into the current storyline, then it's great. But according to an interview recently with Newsarama, Ian Flynn basically hinted at the fact that it's not really going to have much to do with the current continuity or storyline. Because as he points out, that after they're done with Genesis, they just hop back into where they left off. So, makes you wonder. Because like I've said before in many audio videos and videos before, and I'm pretty sure anybody would agree with this, you know, there are a lot of comic books out there throughout the years that have done the same thing. They'll leave you out on a cliffhanger, and then a few months later they'll finish it off. But you know, this also brings up the question. You know, a couple months ago, there was this contest that Ian Flynn said he put together. Team Sonic Sally versus Team Sonic Amy. Who was more supported? And apparently, according to Ian, Team Sonic Sally came out on top. And then recently, and I talked about this in a recent video, audio video that is, he replied to a poster at his site who was asking if Shadow should have a love interest. And one of the things, and he lists down the name of the females, which a lot of people have tried to pair Shadow up with in fan fiction and in art and all that, I guess. And the first one he starts off with is Sally. Now he ends his description on Sally by saying she's one of the strongest female figures in the book. So why would he say she's one of the strongest female figures in the book and then all of a sudden kill her off? Why would he do that? He wouldn't. But then again, it could be another red herring. And that's another thing that is getting a lot of people, ticked off too, is these red herrings he's throwing. You see, he likes to tease on his website, oh, dance my little puppet's dance. And this pisses a lot of people off because they don't know what he's doing. He says that what he's doing is a reboot with Genesis. And a lot of people are afraid if this is a complete reboot, but then we find out it's a soft reboot. In other words, it's sort of a rebooting of the origin stories, perhaps. We don't know. But a lot of people are upset about this. They're pissed off about it. But again, there's not much really we can do until 225 gets here. Now, when the Viant cover, or should I say the sketch cover of the proposed cover for 225 came out, a lot of people looked at that hand that was lying on the ground and they said to themselves, that's got to be Sally. But a lot of things would indicate to you that it can't be Sally, and then some that may indicate that it is. Because one, why would Ian Flynn bring Sonic and Sally back together, if you will, and in the preview pages for his free comic book day, have Sonic say, I just hooked back up with Sally? Why would he do that and then put her life on the line? Or try to kill her off? Why would he do that? Huh? Why would he do that? For kicks? To get people talking? Who knows? I mean, true, you might say, well, Ken Penders did the same thing. He put Sonic and Sally together, and then all of a sudden he supposedly killed Sonic off, or just sent him light years away into another galaxy. That's true. He did that. But here's the thing. That's Ken Penders. That's not Ian Flynn. They're two different people. And you know what's even funny about this, folks? I talked about this recently as well. But Ken Penders says that one of the reasons that this whole Genesis thing is taking place is because Archie Comics doesn't want to deal with any legal action. Basically, they want to try to avoid any mentioning of what he's done in the past. You know what I'm saying? So basically, by doing this Genesis soft reboot, I guess, they want to put it in their own style. But to me, I think it's more the fact that they just want to do something for the anniversary that's game-oriented a little bit. And you know what's even more funny, folks? Is when Ian Flynn did that response to that poster on his website, to me, it's like he kind of pointed out the fact that he wants to differ the comics from the games in some ways, character-wise and otherwise. You get what I'm saying? He wants to try to differ them in some ways. Because he knows that there's a lot of people out there that don't like the comics because they're not based on the games. Now, I know, and this is again ties into what Genesis is about and the whole 225 and life hanging on the line kind of deal. People are hoping there are some that are hoping that it's Sally because they think, oh, if Sally's life's hanging on the line or if Sally's killed off, hey, great, Sonic can be with Amy now. That's everybody's wish. That's the wish. They want that. But I think what Ian's trying to lean towards honestly, in my opinion, I think what Ian's trying to lean towards, folks, is he's trying to lean to keeping Sonic and Sally together as a couple. Not as, not like, Ken Penders and Carl Bowles did. But keep them in a way that, they know the boyfriend, girlfriend, they know they're together. But he also wants to probably pair off Amy with somebody else. And I'm thinking he's going to pair off Amy, possibly with Tails. Now, I said Tails might get paired off with Nicole, and that's still a possibility. But I think right now he might start off with Amy. You might say to yourself, that's crazy. That's not going to work. That's not going to happen. Well, guess what, folks? It is going to happen. It is going to work. Because people want to see it. People want to see it because they want to see Amy with somebody. And they want to see Tails with somebody. Now, besides that, we also find out that the current issue, the current story arc in Sonic Universe is the Silver story arc, which is, I guess you could say, a loose adaptation of Ian Flynn's webcomic Other M. Now, apparently, right now, the only two characters that have survived so far against Urajak, who we now know is Knuckles, is Janakar, Lalasu, if you will, and Silver. Because everybody else has had their core now taken. Basically, the life source taken out of them. But the question is, will these characters that have the life source, the core is the life force taken out of them, the souls taken out of them, will they survive afterwards? We don't know. But we do know that the story arc that comes after Silver's is Scourge. Now, according to Ian, this will have nothing to tie in with Genesis or anything, because I think we're now finding out that Genesis is going to be its own story arc. But we find out that Scourge is in the next Sonic Universe story arc. And we find out that it has to do with his time in the Zone prison, and either it's going to be a breakout or something. But apparently he gets some help from some new allies, but we don't know who those new allies could be. But apparently it's going to focus on Scourge being in jail. Now, a lot of people are wondering what story could be used for Scourge. What could happen? We don't know. But I do know this, folks. It's going to be worth reading when it comes out, I have a feeling. Now, besides that, let's talk about another thing. As you know, like I said, this is about the comics and the franchise. And overall, the franchise has a new video game coming out called Generations. And from what the trailer has shown, apparently it may be a racing game, but it's some kind of game where you can play as both the new Sonic and the classic Sonic. But nobody knows otherwise than that what else could be a part of this. Nobody knows. Nobody knows if maybe Eddie LeBron's fan film is going to come out at that time. Nobody knows. So, but the Sonic Genesis trailer looks pretty cool. So we'll just have to see what happens. It's supposed to come out this summer. So that tells you exactly what Genesis is. It's nothing more than a separate story arc from what I can understand. Maybe a bit of a tie-in, maybe not. But a separate story arc almost that's just being made for the anniversary. That's it. So, but otherwise, besides that, those are just my opinions and thoughts on the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book and franchise for April 2011. Tell me what you guys think. Comment down below, and I'll talk to you all later.